What's hot right now?
Like location?
No, I mean like, so Airbnbs, is that, everybody seems to be talking about Airbnbs.
So about a year and a half ago, Airbnbs were really, really hot. I saw something yesterday on one of the people that I follow, a real estate person. They're kind of tapering off a little bit.
Why?
But I'm not sure.
It's like Google it's not search engines, but it's the search engine. I feel like Airbnb is not the only short-term rental platform, but it is the name that everybody uses, and its reputation is tanking.
Yeah.
Why? Why is it tanking?
All these miscellaneous fees, all of like,
it's expensive.
They don't really regulate the host. So some hosts will come in and, the house is $100 a night, but then you're paying a $300 cleaning fee and a $500 deposit. So this $100 a night, $300 3-day night investment that you're making in a vacation all of a sudden becomes $1,000. And then it's cheaper to just go to a hotel. So I don't think the industry is going out, but Airbnb is just getting such a bad reputation right now.
Maybe they're getting a little greedy.
Johnny had a client a few months ago, came in from California. They sold their house over there, and they were paying crazy
$300 a night, and they had to stay there for like 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It was insane. Incredible. And this was in San Marcos area. Of course, college town, you got the river, you got party, you got all kinds of stuff. But
that whole corridor up 35 is growing very, very fast. It's almost going to be like nonstop commercial stuff all the way up where you can do your shopping and do all your stuff.
So how Dallas-Fort Worth is, you might have Austin Antonio hearing about
Austin Antonio. That's I haven't heard that one yet. But I feel like with real estate investing, there's like, it sounds like flips or Airbnbs, but there's a vast world that is just scratching the surface. When you start buying a home is like the teeniest tip of the iceberg, because there's so many options. You just kind of got to pick your vehicle.
Subcontractors, you got to deal with hard money lending. I mean, there's so many things involved.
But at the end of the day, if you want to build wealth, real estate should be a part of that portfolio. So this is something I'm learning later in life, is that, hey, maybe I should have started earlier on how I'm spending my money investment wise. I'm just getting kind of wise to it now.
And that's the
Mark,
thing.
that is a fact. Real estate investing is one of the top ways to leverage and to make some passive income.
Well, hide money from the government, not in a bad way, but through like tax, right? We won't say tax evasion, but we'll say that we can,
loopholes. There's different ways to move money around.
Disclaimers.
No, but there's so many tax advantages.
That's
what I meant to say, with tax advantages to investing in real estate, and it's like, that's a great place to spend some money.
Real estate is the way I'm investing in my kids' college, because I don't know if my kids are going to want to go to college. I went to college. It was great. I found my husband there, but like, am I using my animal science degree? No.
Is college even necessary today?
I mean,
it depends on the situation.
I like where your head's at, because to me, college it's expensive, right? And we understand there's a cultural journey that happens there, and you can make friends, you can do all the things. But I know for me and my daughter, it's like, I'm all about teaching her entrepreneurship and how to, build a business. If you spent 4 years building a business instead of buying an education, I mean, I think you'd be better off.
Because an education might cost $150K.
And if you look at most of the business degree programs that are offered at colleges, they're not entrepreneurial degrees. They're not teaching you how to build and run a small to medium-sized business, which can make you as much as this is my grandstand, so I'm going to back off of it. But they don't teach you how to build your own business. They teach you how to work in the corporate business world, which if that's what you want, great. But I need to, that's a huge thing about real estate, is I can't put money into a 529 that my kids might not use, but you know what they will use? Cold hard cash.
That's right.
And every house that we buy from now until my children graduate is going to be a college fund for them, and that's how we plan on building that.
Yeah, I was able to build a 6-figure business in less than a year. I mean, it's like it's you find a need, and you kind of implement your skill set and what you're passionate about, stand out in the industry and go get it, man, because there's so much opportunity there.
And Mark, it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Yeah. Which goes back to social media and how much time we're spending on it. I talk to a lot of business owners, and it's amazing to me how we know that social media is relevant, right? Stats will tell you that over 70% of people make decisions, at least in part, by what they see through social media and what their engagement is there. but yet businesses really aren't paying attention to it. It's like a restaurant owner. I use this all the time. You have a hostess, you have a waitress, you have a chef, and you have the owner. The owner fills none of those other roles. The owner's busy doing the owner things, but you have to have a hostess, right?
Well, and the conversation I have all the time is people know that they need to do social media. They know they need to make content. They know it in here, but they can't, there's something blocking them. It's like they can't make themselves do it because it's not comfortable for them, or they've got they don't feel like they're going to be good at it, or they're going to do it and it's going to waste their time, because social media, it's the long game. We all know you're not going to immediately get business from a post. But what's interesting about the way you've approached it, Marc, is you've taken that off the table. Marc doesn't post anything of his own. Like he has people that do it for him. When we have coaching conversations, it's not about what are you going to do? It's what do you need your people to do? Right. And it takes the responsibility. I mean, the responsibility ultimately falls on you, but you don't have to be the one that does it. So you always end up doing it.
Well, this is in the real estate world, you have the brokers, right? They're out there doing the job, but the broker has to focus on actually building a business as well. So they create an environment where agents want to be a part of what's going on. And then they leverage the agents, not in a bad way, right? It's a good thing. Right. And the agents get to take advantage of the brokerage and so forth, right? So you guys you're not a brokerage yet. You work with a brokerage, but what are your plans there to become? Are you going to become a brokerage? Are you going to introduce leverage into your system?
So we've talked about that as well. Or do you want to talk about that?
No,
sure.
go. I mean, yeah, we've talked about it before. We can do it, but I think for right now, our focus, everything that we have on our plate, we're okay with keeping our team and our other businesses. But as far as going out and building a brokerage under our name, I think that
we can. It's on the table.
Oh,
sure.
Yeah,
but I mean, as far as like your growth plan, you know what I mean? Because you're talking about wanting to go nationwide, right? Well, that's a brokerage, right? That's an online model.
Right. Eventually, and not necessarily just with real estate. I want to go nationwide with at least one or two of my businesses. Yeah. But with the brokerage sense, we like the team concept, but we know in order to grow and gain that extra leverage, you got to be a brokerage. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
Have 100, 200 people under you, maybe 1,000. That's when the real stuff starts to happen. But what we're doing right now is we're helping our team members build their own concepts, their own skills, their own marketing savvy. I'm a trainer by my heart is about training people and making people better. So that came when I became a military training instructor back in the day, just watching these people grow. So I want to build other leaders, not only with our real estate business, with the teams that I have on with my other businesses as well. But yeah, I mean, sky's the limit, but right now we're taking it day by day. We're just trying to figure out, okay, what's the move here? What's the pivot in 2024? And so on and so forth.
Well, I think that's key. You don't eat the elephant all in one bite.
I don't want to go all in right now because then I lose focus on my other businesses.
Well,
so
it's overwhelming too. You really can't. Idea-wise, it might seem like a good thing, but when you get in the middle of it and you're like, you get overwhelmed.
I read something the other day, and it said, imagine if the people who started the American Revolution actually thought about how complicated it would be. To go to war with England and to do all the stuff that was required to actually break away from the British Empire. Would they have actually done it if they had thought about it too hard? No. But what they did, they wrote the Constitution and they just took it one day at a time and they dealt with the obstacles as they came and boom, here we are.
That's how I do it. So, I mean, I started out when I started leveraging virtual assistant hiring, virtual staffing from overseas, I started with one and now I'm up to 15 and I'm hiring 3 more this week. But you start with square one and move through it and figure things out and go, but you just keep walking. And the emotional, we brought that up earlier, but the emotional roller coaster that is entrepreneurship is tough because some days you're just overwhelmed with this. You're not going to make it. People don't like you. They don't want your business, whatever the deal is, right? So talk real quick about that kind of stuff. How do you deal with that, Johnny, because it comes. So how do you deal with it?
Oh, so like negative feedback or something like that?
Or just internal talk.
So I'm one of those, I self-analyze every day when I'm driving and she sees me in the car. I'm just thinking, how could I have done that better? Or did I really do this really well? So I think about the negative often. But how do I deal with it? If something occurs, I just you can't avoid it. You can't just look away. You have to confront it. And I like confrontation sometimes. I know she doesn't, so I'm usually the one that kind of, if we have a bad experience with a client or a client has a bad experience with me, I'm usually the one that calls and says, hey, how can we fix this? I understand if I put myself in your position, I completely understand the scenario or whatnot. And so we had one for the photo booth. Okay. Our photo booth wasn't working properly, and we had a 3-hour rental, and it only worked for like 30 minutes. So I had to call them, and I had to ultimately tell them, hey, I'm going to give you a refund, and I'm going to give you another free rental on us. But in real estate, and I'm not going to knock on your wood here, but we've had pretty good experiences. One thing that I do to negate the bad experience, Mark, is I communicate constantly. So my clients, whether they're buying or selling, I ask them for weekly feedback. Hey, can you give me feedback on how I'm doing as your realtor? Can you give me feedback on how I could have done better? And then we do a weekly thing, and that usually negates a lot of the negativity that could happen. And I know a lot of agents don't do that because they don't want to hear negative. But I want to hear the negative. How am I doing, and what am I not doing?
So communication definitely key.
Yeah. Well, and that ties back into y'all's name, Top Flight. How many times do you think pilots course correct when they're flying across the country? Probably a lot.
Right.
So if you're constantly getting feedback, you're only constantly getting better and moving towards your dream. So if someone wants to get in touch with you about, getting on your team, buying a house, getting a photo booth, or having their business highlighted on your social media company, how can they do that?
Yep. So we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, whether it's our Top Flight. We all have our individual pages, or Top Flight on Facebook. Photo booth, Party People photo booth. And we're kind of all over the place.
So Top Flight, it's topflightrealtygroup.com. Reach out to us on that. We can help you buy and sell real estate. We're specialists. And we get down to the nitty gritty. We guide, we mentor, and we provide feedback, and we ask for feedback along the way. With the photo booth, it's pppbooth.com. We're also specialists in bringing fun and memories and marketing to any corporate or private event. And with Social Plug Media, we're also specialists in helping you get to the next level as far as getting videos and photos and stuff out there to build your social media presence. And you can find us at socialplugmedia.net.
Awesome. We got 3 businesses for the price of one today. It's a lot of fun. All right. As we wrap a show, a quick reminder to check out our latest podcast or catch video versions of the show on our website at satalkradio.com. That's satalkradio.com. That's going to be it for us. Have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one.
Great job, guys.
Thank you.